Welcome back to the channel. The sun just broke over all the clouds. We got about 10 o'clock in the morning and it's sitting probably about 32 degrees, about freezing. Outside sitting about 70 degrees in the greenhouse. Tank water is thawed. We don't have any frost, no ice. You can see that we've been washing our bricks down. Some of our egg paint came off where it got heavy flow from the water, but other than that, most of it's holding up. So we've got a lot of work done in the greenhouse. We threw up this poly, we got all our hoops, we planted tons of seed in there. You can see just gobs. I threw handfuls of seeds all over. Lots of lettuce and arugulas and things like that. Mixed in with our kales we transplanted, and a lot of our onions and leeks. Egyptian walking onions. So we got quite a bit complete on this little bed here. All we have yet to do is basically bury our PEX tubing. We just got to mound up a little soil on it just so it's not in direct sunlight, because you do not want your PEX in direct sunlight too long. This was a little bit bigger of a PEX tubing, not just the short sticks of PEX you find. This came off of a roll, so this has a little bit more durability to it, but I still would like to get it buried. It's lasted me 2 years. So this PEX is long-term useful as long as it's not exposed directly to sunlight for an extended period of time. Say you left it outside in a coil for a year in the sun, that is not good for it. But if it's just sitting in the greenhouse and we just cover it with soil, it will last us year after year. I don't see this breaking down on us anytime soon. We also got our insulation dug out. You can see the insulation board goes all the way along the outside. We dug down about 1.5 feet on the outside of this and insulated down. We buried those boards back up, pushed all the dirt back up, so we've got rocks holding the poly. So we've got our 1/2 inch insulation on that entire bed. Everything that's covered in poly is insulated from the outside temps at least 1.5 feet down. It was a task. We found some big rocks. That rock right there, I found tons of rocks, I found all types of stuff, but we got our good soil in here, we got our seeds, we got our transplants. So all I got yet to do is just cover this thing up basically. So we had got all this work done last night. I came in here and watered and was just checking on everything, and our little new bed, everything looks good. I just planted more tatsoi in the open patches there, but you can see everything looks really good way down in there. So now that we got both of our row covers here, we can get our polys on. I gotta take my sweatshirt off, it's hot, or my coat here. Just gonna hang that right up there. It is warm in here. We are sitting well over 70 degrees. Sitting about 75 degrees at 10 a.m. The sun just broke. You can see it's not very potent. So we are pushing about 85, 86 degrees out of that little tube, and that's not even the 100% reading. I bet it's closer to like 90. We were pushing about 95. I had 95 on a reading here earlier this morning, and I wanted to come out and check it now that we got a little sun, because that fan was just sporadically running. So we had more heat coming when it was just pulsing basically, as opposed to a constant run. That might be overpowered, but I want all of that blasting through. We had this pointed up and it was starting to dry condensation and stuff, as opposed to blowing into this tunnel, which I'm going to continue to do. I just put it up so I could try and get a better reading here. So we're pumping 88 degrees on the outside of that copper, and it's probably even more on the inside. And we're sitting here on day 5. This is only day 5 of that compost pile being built and running hot water and hot air through it. So we're pulling heat and energy off. Now between a week and 10 days is when this pile will achieve its full level of activity and hopefully hold that with all the nitrogen we put in it. So as the sun completely disappears here again, we're just pulsing water out about, I saw 73 there, and it's going down. I'm hitting the water in the tank down there. Yeah, it's, yep, about 73 degree water coming out of there, just pulsing with the sun not being very active today. So we have minimal solar activity, but we've got water flow, we've got airflow, and we've got the heat coming into all our plants in here. My kale got a little smashed down when I was working in there getting the actual tunnel built, but for the most part all of these plants are looking very well. All this kale is harvestable. Our Swiss chard, all of our perpetual shards, we got dill alive still. So I planted so many onions down on the other side as a form of pest protection. We got the Egyptian walking onions, tons of leeks. We've got some chives in this bed and a ton of different kinds of onions I've sprouted down there. So we got all this tatsoi in this bed here, and I noticed a few bite marks on the leaves. So hopefully we're not having any type of aphid infestation or anything. I don't see any aphids yet. My chives are fizzling out. I need to throw some good compost around those and give them a decent watering here, because your onions and your chives, all of those good things will be a nice pest protection. Basically cut them off before they even get to your plants, so you don't have to come out and rinse them off and use the soaps and stuff. You want to have those onions in place around your other plants. That's why we intercropped so heavily down on the other side in that tunnel, because we don't want aphids or mites or any type of pests making a mess of our beds or eating any of our food. Basically, we want to be able to see what kind of harvests we'll get out of there once our lettuce starts to sprout after I cover this tunnel up here. Here we are on day 5. Everybody's got to see this whole thing come to life. I insulated my door here. I used a little extra piece that I had, so we got a nice insulation to the door, and we basically got a 2-inch gap of dead air in there, and I covered up a little hole I had with this, so we got much better insulation factors. I'm gonna build myself a nice window. You can see I got all this, it's building steam coming out of here because it's not sealed very well, because I just used a recycled window. Sitting out here, I can physically feel how warm this pile is. I'm gonna jump back in the greenhouse here. It's definitely chilly outside. Sitting 30 degrees outside and 75 in here with minimal sun activity is really amazing to me. We are achieving good temps and we're getting our walkway built. It's nice to be able to walk in here and have clean feet. I love having my live floor in the greenhouse. The live floor is the best because I can just work this however I want. I'm thinking of where that big blue tub is down there. I'm gonna give myself maybe like a 10 by 4 fish tank. I'm gonna do some type of trough system where I can grow some type of fish for us to either eat or to sell. Some type of fish we can grow quick and harvest out of here, and possibly use the aquaponics and the water and the waste as a whole system. So kind of getting on a tangent here, looking too far ahead. Still got work to do yet in here, but I've got a lot done and everything's looking really, really well. All of the seed is going to sprout quickly with all the heat we've got to the floor. Just got to get this PEX buried, cover everything back up, clean up all my messes, and then I can start working on this side. I've got all my beets trying to stick it out here. Some very good heading collards here, trying to keep those alive. I may put another tunnel on this side here, but that side is not going to be tunneled. We've got lots and lots of sprouts coming up, some shards coming up randomly throughout there. And we've got some mustard or something there, a bunch of cilantro, and a bunch of shards that we saved. We got some random lettuces and tatsois, lots of little crops, but you can see all the little life. Wherever we have moisture, we're basically having sprouts, so that shows that we got good temps. And I wanted to show this down here on the back side. We got our weed eater stored in here for right now. We've got all these sprouts coming. That's actually a radish right there. All these sprouts were coming off the moisture and the warmth from this water here. So that was a summary of day 5 here. We got a lot of stuff done. Getting this insulation done on the back side there was very, very valuable and very crucial for us. I want to see how well that helps and enables us to heat this floor and heat the airspace and keep all these plants alive and be productive in winter.